Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News Update. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Today, I'm highlighting news from Barbados. The newly introduced Protection of Wages Bill 2026 spearheads a major shift in Barbados labor laws by guaranteeing that employees are paid first if the business goes bankrupt. You know that happening a lot here in Trinidad and Tobago as well. Prime Minister Mia Mottley presented the legislation to Parliament, emphasizing that workers must take priority over all corporate creditors. This legal update ensures that when a company closes down or becomes insolvent, employees do not lose the hard-earned money and benefits they are legally owed. Because, you know, of course, as I said, the corporate investors and stuff like that, the company might want to pay off those individuals, the big shots first. No. Mia Mottley is rightfully protecting those who actually make the companies function, and without them, the companies cannot earn any sort of income, cannot generate any sort of income. And this is something that I've always said for many years now. Employers, business owners tend to take the employees for granted because they believe I can hire anybody else, anyone else, anytime I want. So you are dispensable. I can replace you at any point in time. The reality is, though, you cannot really replace a valuable worker that actually contributes in a significant way to the functioning, the effective functioning of your company, especially if they have experience in that field of work. And then besides that, if it is people realize that a particular institution is treating their workers badly, people would not really want to come and apply for work by you in any case, you know, because they will be basically considered like a modern day form of slavery. But nevertheless, this is about protection of wages, so that in case a company is bankrupt or filing for bankruptcy and is closing down, they must put the priorities of the workers first. Pay them and then pay off your debts. And if it is the other investors have to take it to court, you have to be able to allocate the funds by some other means, then so be it. I love what Mia Mottley has done here. So let me get back to the report there. Prime Minister Mia Mottley presented a legislation to Parliament emphasizing that workers must take the priority over all other corporate creditors. This legal update ensures that when a company closes down or becomes insolvent, employees do not lose the hard-earned money and benefits they are legally owed. Beyond insolvency protection, the bill updates everyday payroll rules to match modern banking systems. It formally recognizes digital money transfers and direct deposits as standard payment methods, while banning employers from passing bank transaction fees onto their staff. I wonder if they do that here in Trinidad and Tobago as well. You are supposed to cover that. You're the one paying your employees. You stand for that extra fee. Don't pass it on to your employer. I tell you, all that is forms of modern slavery, in my opinion. You know, people, Mia Mottley is doing a wonderful job when it pertains to this law. I wonder if we have similar laws here in Trinidad and Tobago. Furthermore, the law gives workers the total freedom to choose their own bank for deposits and introduces much tougher penalties for companies that withhold money meant for taxes, national insurance, or union dues. You know, I've had a lot of times in the past, I can remember you're working for a company and they put it on your payslip that they deducted monies for NIS. Yet they never asked you for your NIS number. They never gave you a NIS number or anything like that. And you had to really wonder if these individuals were just basically stealing that money and claiming as though they were paying your NIS for you know, because I mean, usually if you go to well-established business places to get a job, they will ask you for your NIS number. But what the times I'm talking about is the early 2000s. So a lot of racket used to be taking place back then. Hopefully that isn't the same situation for a lot of people in this day and age now, right? Or circumstances that people have to be still enduring in this day and age. While the legislation provides support for workers, It has sparked different reactions among local businesses and union leaders. Of course they would, because all they care about is protecting themselves, you know. Me. That's all. The Barbados Chamber of Commerce and Industry generally supports the new transparency, but wants clearer rules regarding honest payroll mistakes and deductions. Honest my foot. I tell you, everything is about always immunity for these elites and protection for these elites. Me and Motley, I would love if you could put a law in place, like what I want here in Trinidad and Tobago, to hold police officers accountable for their crimes personally. Hold public officials personally accountable for their crimes. So when there's a lawsuit, Mama State, Papa State doesn't have to pay the bill. The individuals have to do so. On the other side, the Barbados Workers Union has raised concerns about a specific loophole that allows employers to reclaim salary overpayments from the past without any clear time limit. Mia Motley, since you're doing such a good job on behalf of the citizens of your nations, the employees of your nations, the working class of your nation, maybe you should take that into consideration as well. But you see, people, I've been hearing for months and years now, oh, Mia Motley is a globalist, Mia Motley is a far-left radical woman. Okay, fine. And I will never support that. I will never support her global agendas and whatsoever. But putting that aside, unlike how you will see probably Democrats just doing total utter nonsense in their respective states in America, Mia Motley might have some kind of globalist leftist tendencies. But to me, thus far, a lot of the legislation that she proposes benefits the citizens, and the policies that she's imposing benefits the citizens of Barbados. And yet our local people here in Trinidad and Tobago on the UNC side praises Kamala Persad-Bissessor, who was a wonderful prime minister in the past. But nowadays, in her second term here, all she focuses on is fighting against the citizens. Calling people agitators and stuff like that, and worshipping the TTPS. I am not saying the UNC isn't doing any good. They are doing good. But all the good they are doing, I will say this over and over again, is being overshadowed by this autocratic style of governance, transforming our country into a police state. Because for some reason or the other, our prime minister is under some spell from which was cast by Roger Alexander. I don't know what kind of spell this man put on Kamala. But getting back to the news report, this is about Barbados. Mia Motley continue to do a good job. I hope and pray that you will kind of give up those kind of globalist agendas that you have. That doesn't really seek the interests of your people, though. You know, you need to be moderate. Certain things like climate change to an extent, protect the environment and whatsoever. But do not follow the Green New Deal, far-left radical jihadist type of agendas where they want to take away people's cars and cows from them. People want to say, well, I talk about cows. Though, yes, in the Green New Deal agenda, it states how rearing of cattle in large amounts emits too much gaseous waste into the atmosphere, and therefore it is too much of carbon dioxide, which is contributing to global warming. What? Well then, fine. You don't want to eat beef. That is your problem. You stop eating beef. You can't be telling other people about that utter nonsense and trying to encourage people to be eating all kind of artificial nonsense. No. That don't ever go so far left, Mia Motley. Hopefully she never does. But nevertheless, this was a wonderful news coming out from Barbados to protect the working class citizens of that country.
Respect to it. I want, sir, to address the next point. Leaving a job or seeing that a business fails in which you are working does not erase the obligation to pay the employees. You know, sir, one of the reasons why in our insolvency legislation there is priority given to workers and to NIS is because we understand the social fabric that will be torn if we don't protect the people, even in the face of closures, in the face of insolvency, and ultimately even in the face of bankruptcy. You may not have enough to settle everything that you owe, but who must you pay first? And this is what a country that has had the scars that we have, and a parliament that set the legislation to describe people for the first time in a slavery system as chattel. This parliament has therefore a duty to make sure that we move as far away from that history as is humanly possible, and recognize that even in the face of closures, that obligation to treat another human being with dignity and to pay them what you owe them is paramount. Clause 18 requires that all wages and other amounts already due at the end of employment to be paid no later than the payday of the next pay period, but that would have to be applied if the employment had continued. Sir, if a failed business owed somebody, a worker, $2,000, as I said, and I'm breaking it down now in ordinary language, then that business has to make sure that that worker has priority to receive that $2,000 before the business pays a supplier of goods that would normally be a creditor, that would normally have to be paid. And I'm saying this for the benefit of small employers as well, so that you know that if you're going through a rough time and the money's short, and you've got to decide who you have to pay, don't go break the law and pay the creditor, pay the worker first.
Weather report for Trinidad and Tobago on Wednesday, July 22, 2026. On Wednesday, July 22, 2026, Trinidad and Tobago will experience mostly sunny, hazy, and at times breezy conditions shifting into partly cloudy skies, with a few showers and a 60% medium chance of isolated afternoon thunderstorms. The official public update from the Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service indicates that a moderate concentration of Saharan dust is present in the atmosphere, so individuals sensitive to air quality changes should take necessary precautions. Daytime maximum temperatures are expected to reach around 31 degrees Celsius, with an overnight minimum dropping to 25 degrees Celsius. The heat index is projected to feel like 34 degrees Celsius during peak hours. Humidity levels will fluctuate between 65% to 90% throughout the day. Winds will blow from the east to southeast at speeds of 5 to 35 kilometers per hour. Seas are forecast to be slight to moderate, with open water waves reaching 1.0 meters to 1.5 meters and waves under 1.0 meters in sheltered areas. Bible quote of the day. Psalm 33, 10-12. The Lord's plans prevail. The Lord foils the plans of the nations, he thwarts the purposes of the peoples. But the plans of the Lord stand firm forever, the purposes of his heart through all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, the people he chose for his inheritance.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news update. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.